If you're looking for cheap, safe, and reliable MT, make sure you go check out my new sponsor, safembamt.com. Use code JC2K for 5% off and go build that God Squad you always wanted. Yo, what is good, YouTube, and welcome back to another JC2K video. In today's video, we're going to be doing episode 21 of I Build Your Teams, the series where I build my viewers' teams into the best teams possible for my team unlimited and or competitive play based on what their current team's looking like, how much MT they have, and what version of the game they play on. If you want a chance to be involved in a future episode of this video, make sure you follow me on Twitter. Be on the lookout for a tweet about this series every single Friday night and respond to that tweet with your team, and well, you will have a chance to be involved in a future episode of this video. Before we hop into it, if you haven't, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me push towards the 2,500 subscriber mark on the channel. We're like a little bit less than about 350 subscribers away right now. So I would really appreciate it if y'all do hit that subscribe button. But without further ado, let's hop into it and take a look at some teams. So today, first team today comes over from Kaiser. Nobody's doing 10 KMT. This is a really good squad. Well, 10 KMT limits your ability to change things though. So the thing that I'm looking at with this squad, you got 13 players, and I'm looking at this team and I see a couple things. First of all, I'm not a huge fan of this point guard, to be honest, especially at this point in the year. That's just me. So he's definitely a solid card, but with only 10 KMT, I think one thing I would definitely recommend doing is put this bull at your starting small forward position and then move LeBron to your start backup point guard position. You plug him in there, and then I think that gives you a lot more versatility. You just plug Wiseman in at the 4 right here off the bench, and then all of a sudden, I think once you sell Giannis, you've saved a bunch of MT, and your 10-man lineup is actually looking a lot better. If you're running Ben, AK, Bull, Mobley, Bular, and then, for example, LeBron, Cade, Danny Ferry, Wiseman, and Kareem off the bench, you'll save some MT, and I think that 10-man is actually a better 10-man. And that really, I think, is the easiest way to upgrade this team simply and save yourself some MT. Next team today comes in from my boy Carson. He's got 100 KMT. He's looking to get Taco. Big fan of Corey Kispert, so we'll keep him on the squad. Nobody spent current gen on Switch. 100%, bro. Looking at the team, 100 KMT. I like the fact that you got this Bull card. He's looking to get Taco, so at some point Taco will plug in here at the 5. And at that point, I think that would probably push Bill Russell out of your lineup right now, the way that it's looking. And when I see this team, the first thing that I notice is I don't love this Blake Griffin card. I'm just not a huge fan of him at this point in the year. I think that this Ben Simmons is actually a better option than Blake Griffin. I still really like this Warped Reality Ben Simmons. A guy that I would recommend picking up to replace Blake is somebody like I'd say probably Andre Karolinko or Hedo Turkoglu, whichever one of you prefer. AK is better defensively. If you need more defense, I'd go AK. If you want a little bit more offense in your starting lineup, go Hedo. One of those two guys, though, to replace Blake would be a good upgrade. And then once you get Taco, plug him in at that center position, move Jet Wise into the backup 4 to replace Bill Russell. And one other thing I do, as much as I like Sean Bradley and think he's really good for like salary cap tournament lineups and stuff like that, on current gen, I think he's worse than a guy like Simbalar. So for me personally, I would probably sell that Sean Bradley and pick up a badged out Simbalar if you can, because I think he's a better option than Bradley on the defensive end of the court, and I think he moves a little bit better as well. So that's just me. Those are probably the two things that I would do with this squad. Next team today comes in from my boy Animal Prince, Vishnu, and he's got 270 KMT on current gen. Look at this squad. You got a nice 10-man lineup. Starting lineup is elite. Bench is very, very solid as well. 270K gives you the flexibility to, again, replace a guy like Blake Griffin, who y'all know I'm not a huge fan of at this point in the year. And a guy that I would definitely look to pick up to replace that Blake would be somebody like an Andre Karolinko or Hedo Turkoglu, like I just said. One of those guys is going to be an upgrade over Blake, probably AK in my personal opinion. To replace this Blake card will upgrade your team, and he's going to be about that 70K range. You're still going to have 200,000 MT. At that point, I would consider trying to save a little bit to pick up a center. I'm not sure exactly how expensive a guy like Yao or Kareem is, not the GOAT Kareem. I think they're both going to be relatively out of your price range with only 200 KMT, but if you at some point save MT or get a little bit lucky and are able to get more MT, trying to work towards one of those centers would be a good idea in my personal opinion. And at that point, you could slide Wiseman to the 4 and then put one of those guys in at that starting center position and then move Sim to the bench. But the only upgrade that I would make currently is picking up one of those new one of those point guards to replace Blake, whether it be an Andre Karolinko or a Hedo Turkoglu. Next team today comes in from Ben. He's got 112 KMT, plays on current gen. He's got Speed Grinches on Sim and Anton. Any suggestions? Looking at this squad, again, very solid squad. The thing that I noticed is that your front court lacks a little bit of size, especially off the bench with Anton Janison playing the 4. He's only 6'8" and he doesn't have a big player build. So that's one of the things that I would definitely look to look to work on. As much as I like Anton, at this point in the year, I think he's worth selling. I'm not entirely sure how much he's going for, but I think selling Anton would definitely be the way to go with this squad. I would start Evan Mobley at the 4, move Thon Maker to your backup 4, and then look to pick up a guy like Sean Bradley to play the 5 off the bench. I really do like Sean for this budget, and I think that would be a good upgrade, moving Mobley to the 4, Thon to the backup 4, and selling Anton and picking up Sean Bradley at the 5. I think that fixes your front court for the time being. At the 3, I like Kuminga and Ferry. I think they're both solid. I love this LeBron card, obviously. Hito's great, and Rudy is really good as well. But again, I'm going to recommend the same thing that I recommended to a couple other teams. Pick up yourself an Andre Kirilenko. He's a huge upgrade over Boris Diaw. You'll like him a lot better. I think that would be a big upgrade for this team. And then one other thing that I consider doing is selling a guy like Rudy Gay and plugging in a Cam Reddish type of player in here, because that will save you some more MT, and I actually think Cam Reddish is probably a slightly better card than Rudy Gay as well at that shooting guard position. So that's just me. There's a few upgrades that you could make to upgrade your team. And then one other thing you could do as well, when you have Thon Maker at that backup 4 after making a couple of these changes, if you can also get yourself a guy like James Wiseman to replace Thon Maker, that would be another W upgrade. Save yourself some MT by selling this Thon Maker and upgrade your squad by picking up James Wiseman, who I think is better at the 4 as well. So you make those 3 upgrades, you're going to add more size, more defense, and more talent overall to your squad, and I think you'll probably end up around the same amount of MT as well. Next team today comes in from Manny. He got Wiseman like 3 minutes ago. He likes Zion and Edwards. Feels like he needs a better bench on current. Loves vids. I appreciate that. And looking at your team, there is some things that do need to be worked on, in my opinion. The one thing I will say is I think your backcourt, I really think your starting lineup in general and your backcourt is just a little bit too small at this point in the year. I would definitely sell this Anthony Edwards card, even if you may like the card. He's 6'5" at the 3. That's just not going to work. If you're going to run Zion, if you're going to run one of Anthony Edwards or Zion, I would definitely go the Zion route. You could move him to the 3. I would definitely probably sell Anthony Edwards though at this point in the year. That's just me. And then next, I would probably look at. I don't want to say sell LaMelo as well, but he's the only guy in your backcourt that you can sell. And I think you really need to be looking to add size and defense to the squad. Again, I know I've recommended him for a ton of teams, but he's so cheap and so good. Andre Kirilenko would be a huge upgrade to your backcourt. Replacing LaMelo, while he's cheaper, he's significantly better on defense. I think he's a better overall card. And that's one thing I'd probably do. Another guy I'd look to pick up would be a guy like Cam Reddish. Whether you're plugging him in here at the starting 2 and moving Luka to the bench, whether you're replacing Terry, whether you're even replacing Vince Carter by putting Cam at the 2 and Luka at the backup 1. One of those things would be a big upgrade as well. Then at the small forward position, guys that I'd recommend targeting would be a guy like Danny Ferry. He's not expensive. He's an elite card. Same thing with a guy like Jonathan Kuminga. Not a super expensive card. Very, very solid option as well. Then moving to the power forward position, if you're going to play Zion, you can play Zion at the starting 3 and then put Danny Ferry off the bench, for example. Moving to the power forward position, I'm a big fan of this Wiseman card. I think he can stay, but I would definitely look to pick up another guy like Simbalar. Very, very solid, super good budget center, compete with the tall bigs in the game, but is also cheap. And I think you plug him in at that center position, you move Wiseman to the 4. And then the only 2 other spots you need to work on are this backup 4 and 5. I think Eddie Curry is solid for the time being, whether he's at the 4 or the 5. I think you can play that card. I just think you need to work on potentially picking up one more power forward, and a way that you could probably work on slowly getting to that point. If you sell LaMelo, you sell Ant, you're going to have more MT to play with. A guy like Evan Mobley, if you can save a little bit more MT, he'll become in your price range in all likelihood, and playing him at the 4 or the 5 with Eddie Curry off the bench would be nice as well. So I think that gives you a lot of things that you can look at for this team, just trying to add more size and defense to your lineup, and I think that will help you out a lot. Next team today comes in from Aiden. He's got 50 KMT on current gen. Solid base to your team. But one thing I will say is I think that you could pick up a guy like, I hate to keep recommended Andre Kirilenko because I think I've recommended him to basically every single team, but he's so good on defense. He has base 98 on offense. He's got nice dunk animations, great size at the point guard position, comes with every badge you need. I think selling Jalen Suggs and picking up Andre Kirilenko is going to add a lot to your defense. I like Jalen Johnson a lot. I think he's solid, and I like your front court for the most part. But another guy that I would look to pick up if you don't have him already is Cam Reddish. He's free. I think he's better than Grant Hill. He gives you a lot more on the offensive end of the court, and he's got similar size as well. So picking him up to replace Grant Hill for free would be a good upgrade as well. At that point, I think your biggest hole is probably one of your front court guys, whether you're moving Simbalar to the 5, James Wiseman to the 4, and then you have Sean Bradley off the bench. I like this Bol. I just think he's a little bit outdated unless you have a super juiced on badge wise. So at some point, that's probably going to want to be the next area that you look to upgrade. Whether that's with a guy like Evan Mobley who came out this week, or I mean, moving Danny Ferry to the 4 at some point and picking up a 3 like a Jonathan Kuminga. There are a couple areas that you could go with on this squad, but that's probably one of the ways that I would look to potentially upgrade this team, is focusing on that point guard position and then saving some T to hopefully get toward a guy like Evan Mobley at the power forward position. And then finally, we have this squad from Corrupt. He's got 400 KMT on Courage, and he loves Giannis, so we'll keep Giannis in the squad. He wants to know what I can do to make the squad better. Okay, Cade and LeBron, super good. AK and Kawhi, also super good. Bobo and Tony, super good. Giannis and Ferry, also great. Taco and Sim. So looking at this squad, I'm going to say this. I don't think there's anything you need to change, especially if you're a big fan of this Giannis card. But one thing I would say is probably your weakest link is probably Tony Kukoc, as solid as he is, or it's Kawhi Leonard, one of those two guys. And as solid as Kukoc is, you know what? Actually, I changed my mind. Kukoc can stay. Sell this Kawhi and pick up the invincible one. It's going to cost you about 100 KMT if I'm estimating correctly, about maybe a little bit more, but you're going to notice a little bit of a difference with the Invincible Kawhi. I think he's better than the Space Jam, or than the Idols Kawhi, and just a lateral up, not a lateral upgrade. It is just an upgrade. You're getting a better Kawhi, and you have the MT to do it, and I think that's the best upgrade for you to make at this point. The other thing you could potentially consider doing would be moving a guy like Ferry to the 3, or picking one of two, Kukoc and Ferry, whoever you prefer, to play the backup 3, and then save just a little bit more MT and pick up a guy like Kareem. You could plug Kareem in at the starting 4 and move Giannis to the bench, and I think that might be the move to make if you would prefer to go in that direction away from the shooting guard position. And one other thing you could do, I'm just going to throw this out here. Cam Reddish and Idols Kawhi are very similar, I think, in terms of which card is better. I think it's very close. You could plug Cam Reddish in here, sell your Kawhi, pick one, sell your Ferry as well. Sell Ferry, sell Kawhi, plug Cam Reddish in here, leave Kukoc, and then you'll have enough MT to pick up Giannis and move, or pick up Kareem and move Giannis to the 4. You could do that as well if you wanted to. There are a few different ways you can go with this team, but you have a very, very great, solid team to build off of right now, and I really like that. But that is going to do it for this video. If y'all did enjoy, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. Make sure to follow me on Twitter for a chance to be involved in a future episode of this video, and I appreciate all the recent support. I'll be back with more 2K content very, very soon. I appreciate y'all. Peace.
Some Luka magic to get us started this afternoon. The turnover. Luka slams it home to put Dallas on the board first.
He got the three-point shooting. He could take it off the dribble.